Once upon a time in a small village, there lived a sweet and kind-hearted girl named Little Red Riding Hood. She was known for her bright red hood and her love for exploring the woods. Little Red Riding Hood's grandmother lived on the other side of the forest, and she would often visit her to bring homemade goodies and spend time together. One sunny morning, her mother called her into the kitchen and said, "Little Red Riding Hood, your dear grandmother isn't feeling well. I've baked some cookies and made her a special tea. Would you be a dear and take them to her?" Little Red Riding Hood happily agreed. She put on her red hood, and her mother packed the cookies and tea into a basket. "Remember, stay on the path and don't talk to strangers," her mother cautioned. Little Red Riding Hood skipped into the woods, the sunbeams streaming through the tall trees. As she wandered through the forest, she began to sing a cheerful song, enjoying the beauty of nature all around her. Meanwhile, a sly and cunning wolf was watching her from behind the trees. The wolf had a plan to trick Little Red Riding Hood and get to her grandmother's house first. "Where are you going, Little Red Riding Hood?" the wolf asked, approaching her. "I'm going to visit my grandmother, who lives on the other side of the forest," Little Red Riding Hood replied with a smile. The wolf, trying to hide his true intentions, said, "What a kind granddaughter you are! But it's a long journey. Why don't you take the shortcut through the thick woods? It's much quicker." Little Red Riding Hood, trusting the wolf's words, decided to take the shortcut. She thanked the wolf and ventured into the dense forest, straying from the safe path. The wolf, with his evil plan in motion, hurried to reach the grandmother's house first. He knocked on the door, imitating Little Red Riding Hood's voice. "Grandmother, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood. I've brought you some cookies and tea." The grandmother, who was not feeling well and unable to see well without her glasses, said, "Come in, my dear." The wolf entered the house and quickly gobbled up the cookies and tea, all the while pretending to be Little Red Riding Hood. Meanwhile, Little Red Riding Hood was still on the shortcut, wondering why the forest seemed darker and scarier. She missed the friendly sunlit path she had been on. As she reached her grandmother's house, she knocked on the door. "Grandmother, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood," she called. The wolf, pretending to be the grandmother, said, "Come in, my dear." Little Red Riding Hood entered the house and immediately noticed something was amiss. "Oh, grandmother, what big eyes you have," she exclaimed. "All the better to see you with," replied the wolf. "Grandmother, what big ears you have," she continued. "All the better to hear you with," said the wolf. "Grandmother, what big teeth you have," she cried. "All the better to eat you with," roared the wolf, leaping out of the bed. Little Red Riding Hood was frightened but quick on her feet. She darted out of the house and screamed for help. Nearby woodcutters heard her cries and rushed to the rescue. They caught the wolf and, with their axes, opened his belly to save Little Red Riding Hood and her grandmother. They were amazed to find the two of them unharmed inside the wolf's belly. Little Red Riding Hood's quick thinking had saved them both. From that day on, Little Red Riding Hood learned to always stay on the safe path and never talk to strangers. She also understood the importance of being cautious and making the right choices. The village celebrated Little Red Riding Hood's bravery and cleverness, and she became a hero, known for her wisdom and kindness. She continued to visit her grandmother, but she always stuck to the path and kept a watchful eye on the forest, ensuring that she would never encounter the cunning wolf again. And so, Little Red Riding Hood's adventures taught everyone a valuable lesson about staying safe and making wise decisions, ensuring that they lived happily ever after.